Today is the 28th of May. I'm going to be going over my trades that I took today. Off of the bigger picture, for me, it just made sense that the NASDAQ is, we're pushing up. Off of the 4 hour, I had seen a rally, a base, another rally. So this was my first trade right here, okay? 805. So my initial thought was I'm down into this demand, right? We had a rally, a base rally. And price started giving me confirmation. We had, potential tweezers, pin bar, right? A 5 minute break of structure came back down, more pin bar. Price at this point, it seemed like it created a higher low, gave me a 5 minute break of structure. And yeah, I entered it. I thought it was a solid setup. Prior to this right here, right, the initial entry was off of this candle right here, this pin bar right here. And I risked about 0.15%, right? Stop loss down here. However, once I got this potential higher low, right, with this somewhat engulfing another 5 minute break of structure, I added another position, moving my entry up here. So I decided to move my stop loss from down here to the low of this bullish candle. Unfortunately, as you guys seen in the earlier video, got stopped out. Kind of my confirmations also included, we were above VWAP. It's 8 a.m. So at that point in time, there was still no news coming in. Yeah, that was the first entry right here. It didn't work. The other thing I'm thinking of is there's this 5 minute. I should have waited for price to clearly have broken above, above this area right there. So this candle, maybe if it would have broke up here, even if it was just slightly above, this would have been a better entry than it, breaking above this resistance here, but then unfortunately failing to break this overall 5 minute area of consolidation, because that's what it is. Okay, so here's my second entry. Again, at that point, right, we had broken below this demand, but as I showed earlier in the higher time frames, we still have just overall demands all over this daily area. Price dropped. As y'all seen, it's 9.9010. We got another 5 minute break of structure. I was thinking, okay, maybe what we did is we pulled potentially, what they say, liquidity, right? And I figured this was a good entry. So I entered off of this candle at 9.10, stop loss below. Price shot up all the way up here. And at that point in time, I'm thinking this is at 9:30. Okay, so at 9:30 is we could see the, again, right? Like, look at this. It literally opened down here and then just shot up all the way up here. So I'm looking at this as well, and I'm thinking, oh, it's go time. We about to run up, right? So 9:30, right? Keep in mind at that point in time, this news had already happened at 9, and it did nothing to the market. This is it. This is the news candle. It did nothing. Yeah. So stock market opens, price shot up all the way up here. I'm getting excited because I'm thinking this is going to be a solid 5RR. Maybe I'm able to, add some extra risk, but unfortunately, just like it ran up, it eventually came down, stopped me out, and decided to push even lower. This was actually a news trade that actually would have worked. It really could have been the most simplest, most easiest trade if I would have just left it alone, right? So as y'all can see, right, this is 10 a.m. This honestly kind of annoyed me. I had to just take a deep breath and be like, okay, I got to let it do its thing. I can't get upset. But 10 a.m., we actually had CB consumer confidence. As y'all see, the number was positive. When I looked at the prior, in the history, the last two times that we had news, right, when it was negative, it actually dropped NASDAQ. Since it was positive, it was a no-brainer that it was going to push NASDAQ, right? So this annoyed me because I really wanted to get a solid entry, a small entry, you know, or I should say a small stop loss, not an entry. And it closed huge. You know, this is a gigantic stop loss. So, you know, I entered at the candle close, right? 10 a.m. hits, numbers are positive. I enter, and, you know, price was doing its thing. When this candle closed bullishly, I decided to move my stop loss below that candle low. As y'all seen, price did come down, stop it out, and then it did its thing. Kind of ironically enough, though, if I would have just given it some, let's say, some breathing room, right? If I would have waited, potentially, right? Even if I got stopped out, okay, I got stopped out here, right? But I could have done another entry like this with this candle right here, or even if it pulled back, I could have entered right here at that pullback, somewhere here at a pullback, and caught a 3RR, or off of this candle here, and we could have caught that easy 1-2-1. You know, maybe if I ended up here, it wouldn't have worked out. But as far as the news, I think I'm gonna stick to maybe 1-2s or 1-1s, expecting them to be a higher win rate. You know, more of a A+ type setups. And although this trade did not work out, it wasn't because the trade itself was wrong. It was more of my execution. I moved my stop loss when maybe my stop loss should have been moved maybe, you know, right here. Give it some breathing room. If price would have clearly started going down, then, you know, maybe I could have been like, okay, cool, then it is what it is. I'll start closing it out. But I moved it here, and I completely killed the opportunity to let this trade develop and really give me a winning trade. But this was a news trade that would have been extremely successful. I'm going to go ahead and document that as well. So this is the fourth trade. This is a trade I shouldn't have taken to begin with. Okay, because I had already taken 3 trades that didn't work out. And the prior trade, which was off of this candle here, right? I decided to, you know, move my stop loss, and I got stopped out. At this point in time, I think it would have been better to just have called it a day, you know, because clearly we did not have the kind of volume that I wanted to see. I mean, we did have big candles, and look, like, this is one thing I need to keep in mind. Look at the size of these candles, and look at the size of these candles. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, and unfortunately, if I would have been more aware of this, this could have been something that I could have looked into. Because right here, as we see, right, aggressive selling, and then we see, you know, aggressive buying until, you know, we start to finally taper off. But essentially, I entered at around, I believe, 10:30. There's no news at 10:30, at least not for the USD. And price closed bearishly. I believe as this candle 10:35 was developing, I decided to just call it a day and close it and not let it hit the stop loss. And that was mostly because of the fact that I was also keeping in mind that, hey, there's potentially a supply right here, and maybe that's what's being at play. So, you know, as price started doing this, I'm like, I shouldn't have even taken this trade to begin with. This was 4 trades. Shouldn't have happened. And yeah, it did work out. Like I said, bigger picture did come into play. As we've seen, the daily did end up closing higher for NASDAQ. It did close nice and high, although price action was pretty rough. You know, this isn't the type of price action that I want to see. And look at this off of the 1 hour. I mean, this is nasty work. It's not concise. I want to catch these moves like this is what I want. Just straight to the point. This right here is what I want to avoid. This is what blows your account. This is what's gonna, keep you constantly at break even. Every time we trade in this, we either fail, we blow accounts, or we're stuck at break even. Every time we trade like this, we pass accounts, we grow accounts, and we get payouts. So overall, I would give myself maybe like genuinely, I think a C. The news trade should have been an easy trade. It should have been a trade that I should have held. Uh, should have trusted the process that it was gonna hit the TP, especially since it was a 1-to-1. Like I said, we lost roughly what was it, like $650 or more for the day. Uh, yeah, what did I learn today? Well, I learned that I need to trust the news related, because I went back and I checked the charts, and I saw clear reaction for what is CB consumer confidence, and I should have trusted that, hey, this clearly moves it. You should accept that it's gonna move it. As far as changes that I need to make from today, well, I need to. So I'm gonna go ahead and reduce my risk until I start to see my edge start to work again. And this is for a bullish edge. My other edge as far as selling seems to be a little bit more profitable so far. So the last thing I wanted to bring, I like to use ChatGTP, and I asked it, why did NASDAQ experience a drop at 9:30 a.m. today? And as we can see, it explains that it's due to renewed concerns about inflation and its potential impact on the economy. So, yeah, we're waiting to see the recent economic data suggesting higher than expected inflation. So, we might see continued height rates, which makes sense as to why NASDAQ dropped, even though the overall, let's say the overall stock market was, at least the ones, the top stocks in the NASDAQ were actually doing pretty dang good today.